Good morning, viewers. It's another week in the series of the British Business Podcast. We're here today in Birmingham at the Birmingham City University at the STEAMhouse. We have Richard Scutt. Welcome, Richard. Thanks for appearing today.
Absolute pleasure, Michael.
Would you begin today by telling us what you do at STEAMhouse?
I will. I'm head of growth and incubation at STEAMhouse, and we'll perhaps talk about STEAMhouse a bit later. But I support students, graduates and local entrepreneurs who are looking to start, grow and sustain a business. Simple as that.
Wow. So I looked at something on one of the windows yesterday. It said pre-incubation. Wow, this is seriously strategic in the growth and help to small, in fact, startups in business. Is that a strategy for the the Birmingham City University? Is that what they're looking to do?
It really is, Michael, and I think you've nailed it there. The STEAMhouse is taking science, technology, engineering and maths and then throwing the artist in the middle. Wow. Simple as that sort of thing. Every business, however technical, needs that creativity to be successful. So we start at the pre-incubator. We run a hatchery, which we piloted last year. And we had 40 businesses who entered on a 10-week programme where we supported them with workshops, with one-to-one mentoring, with some prize money at the end of it. And we had 31 businesses come out the end of that. Some of them are pre-revenue. So we've set up a pre-incubator over at Millennium Point, just next door to STEAMhouse, where these businesses can start off, can get support, can get more mentoring, can get formed, and then we give them just over a year to sort of hopefully to grow, to commercialise their product or service until potentially they'll come into this wonderful STEAMhouse building here at BCU.
And they're located here then. This is like their business premises that they work out of every day.
Exactly. This is the incubator stroke accelerator. So once they're revenue generating, they can look after themselves more. They come in here and we help them on their journey with one-to-one support, with workshops, with more mentoring. They become part of the STEAMhouse community. We've got 30 businesses here already. We're looking to build more office space here to get some bigger businesses in, and hopefully they'll impart knowledge on each other to be able to grow.
What room do you have? So how many could you accept? Is there a limit?
Yeah, we've got 66 desks here in our incubator accelerator, but we've got, it's a huge building, 120,000 square feet. So we've got about 20,000 square feet of office space here, which we can be quite modular with. It's in our business plan from August next year to commercialise that space, so we can sort of chop that sort of space into smaller offices as the businesses grow. And I think that's really important. A lot of businesses in the past go into offices which they can't afford, which are too big, which are too small, and they outgrow them. Here we can be very flexible in the space that we give them.
What's your role in all of this?
So I suppose I coordinate the support here at BCU. I put businesses in touch with students and graduates who are hopefully going to be their employees of the future. I bring in mentors to support them. We have an entrepreneur in residence who supports them as well. So I suppose on the glue that puts it all together, really, Michael.
Wow. And so how long have you been doing this work for?
Probably since about 2005 now. I suppose my past has been a bit checkered, I suppose. I left school at 16, did an apprenticeship in engineering, wasn't very good at it, but ended up on the commercial side. I was okay on the commercial side and stayed in that industry for about 15 years. I got to senior management level. And then I had a midlife crisis, woke up one morning, I thought I can't do this anymore, and found myself on a holiday park in Brittany, literally cleaning mobile homes. And that was in 2000. And I'll never forget it. I was having a glass of wine one day in this beautiful sunny day, and I was speaking to the owner of this holiday park, and this was a beautiful £7 million holiday park with sort of 5 pools and lovely bars and restaurants. And I saw some mobile homes being towed off the site. And I said to the owner, "What do you do with those mobile homes?" And he in his French, and I just about understood him. He said that it's a real pain. I said, I have to pay a convoy vehicle, one of these extra wide vehicles, to tow them off. That cost me €1,000. I don't get much for them. So I said, well, what about if I buy them off you and I'll do them up and I'll put them perhaps on a part of the site which doesn't get used much. And he had a tennis court there which was never used. So I bought 5 mobile homes off him in 2000, did them up.
Amazing.
And then ran the business there. I got up to 50 mobile homes, sort of $750,000 turnover.
Wow.
And run the business for 5 years. But that was sort of pre-internet, when people used to book with the likes of Eurocamp and Keycamp and that type of thing.
Okay.
And we had a much more sort of cost-effective mobile home, probably half the price of the sort of competition. Not perhaps as quite as plush, but people who just wanted a base and would rather spend more money on holiday, they were our clients. And we grew the business, myself and just a partner, to, as I say, about $750,000. Then we sold the business to a company who used the accommodation as just staff stuff, because the market had changed. And I came back to the UK, went down to Devon because I met my wife in France, who was from Devon, and I worked for Business Link in Devon, supporting businesses. And then since 2010, I worked for Plymouth University, running some innovation centres in Cornwall. Then this opportunity came up in 2019, back to my home city. And I think, as you can see, Michael, it's an amazing sort of facility, and with so much potential the university has. That's my background.
But that's great, because up until that point, I didn't know any of the background of the business that you ran. That's invaluable to the people who come in the startups, because you can offer that advice. You've actually been there, got that T-shirt, to be able to say to them and have those conversations about when it's tough in business. The people, our listeners and viewers who watch the business podcast, are all about wanting to learn about the journey of a business and what it's going to be like for them when those tough times come, because it's easy when it's easy, but it's when those tough times come. So a little bit more, if you wouldn't mind, to tell us about the STEAMhouse, because it is almost an iconic building here in Birmingham. And we came through the doors last night and I couldn't believe just how almost felt brand new.
Yeah.
When did the Birmingham City University earmark it to be revamped?
I think this project has been going on about sort of between 5 and 10 years. Perhaps a bit about the university. It's different from other universities in that we have about 30,000 students, of which 70% live in the Birmingham commute area. Okay. So we class ourselves and brand ourselves quite rightly, I think, as the university for Birmingham. There's lots of other universities in the UK who you could sort of pick them up and put them anywhere and they'd do pretty well, really. We're very different because we're West Midlands centric.
Why is that?
We want to support the economy of the West Midlands, and we want to support the students of the West Midlands. A lot of the students that we have here are first generation into university. I think we want to give those people the opportunity. Birmingham's an area, I think we saw in the Commonwealth Games, how we don't shout about what we do enough, and that's the problem. I think BCU are really keen to do that, and we want to support entrepreneurship properly, you know. And the STEAMhouse, it's a $50 million investment, mostly from the university's coffers, so it's something we're really serious about.
Wow, £50 million to take an existing building, add a building on.
Spot on, Michael. It used to be a tyre factory and a bicycle factory going back to 1899. Then it was a rubber factory, then a knicker factory. Hopefully it was never a rubber knicker factory. But the old building is still here, as you can see, listed building. And then we've put a 5-storey building on the back of it. And it's an interesting building. And I don't think anyone in the UK is doing this, where we're combining prototyping. We've got an artist studio. We've got the incubator and accelerator. We're also going to have 8 classrooms with a capacity of around about 800 for computer design technology students. Because what we want to do is we want to bring students and graduates together with academics, together with businesses, and see what can happen because of that.
So those 3 groups of people rubbing shoulders with each other, you're thinking, so this is visionary,
Yeah.
that actually those people coming together will all get something from each other. That's pretty out there, isn't it?
I think it is. But that's exactly the vision we've got, Michael. We perhaps could use you for our brochure, I think, next week. That's exactly what we want to do. I don't think it's been done before, because very often with innovation centres, whether universities run them or not, they're sort of pushed away to one side, and that's where we do business. But it's very rare where the students and graduates are literally in the same building, because we want this to be the shop floor. And all of the businesses who have come in here, and there's 25 at the moment, and there's going to be sort of nearly 50 by the middle of next year, they've all said that they will collaborate with the university in some way, whether that's research projects, whether it's setting challenges for students, whether it's employing graduates for them. So what better space than to put them all together at that early stage for students and graduates to go to a business here and say, I really want to work for that business. I'm going to go over and chat to them. And that's what the businesses want. They want people to be interested in what they do. And that's what we're trying to do here. We've got the students coming in January. There's going to be, I think, between 600 and 800 students in here. It'll be a different animal then, and that's, who knows what it'll be like. Hopefully it'll be a really vibrant and successful place. We're pretty sure it will be, because we think our students will appreciate the opportunity they've got here to speak to businesses early in their education here.
What sort of time scale do you put on, if you put on it all, and from startup to getting to a position where they can fly and then go from here with your blessing, of course, into society to make their own way in the world so it's almost like taking the stabilizers off. I guess that's what you think.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question, Michael. Lots of incubators and accelerators give a time limit for businesses. You've got a year or 2 years or 3 years.
Okay.
We do it by goals. So if someone's goal is to get to 100,000 turnover and want to employ 2 people before they move on, then that's where we'll support them. There's other sort of businesses who've got much longer term sort of medical device things where it's going to take 5 years to even get it to market. So we can be flexible. We're also going to offer private office space here from 200 square feet to up to 5,000 square feet. So we want them to perhaps start here and then grow the business here. Hopefully they'll outgrow it and we'll move into sort of accommodation. We've got great relationships with accommodation providers just down the road here. They'll move into bigger places as they grow. But we don't set time limits as such.
Viewers and listeners out there, certainly in this area, because I'm guessing pretty much 100% of the people that come to the startup are from this area. I mean, would seem pretty pointless coming from Sheffield or not Newcastle down here on a daily basis. That's going to be difficult, isn't it? I'm guessing 100%.
Not quite.
Really?
It's mostly, but for example, you've got a business in Derby who are a big sort of £3 million business whose software development team work from here. And COVID has helped us in a way there, Mike, because where businesses used to take big premises before and people used to commute to the premises to do their stuff or work from home, they'd much rather have a hub like this where they bring specific teams in to do pieces of work. So all their software development team, they're a company 40 strong, but their software development team is about 10 strong, and they bring them here because a lot of them live in this area. So they bring their software development team here to work from this hub.
But they started here.
No, they started actually sort of elsewhere, but they've got sort of business. They've got teams who work from here, and they've already taken on 3 of our sort of software development students.
So the company based in Derby set up a business in Derby.
Yeah.
But because of what you have to offer here, spoke to the university, wanted people from the university.
Spot on.
And that's why they can then talk to you about, that's, again, pretty visionary.
It's powerful. And what we want to do now, this business are looking to go from 3 million to 5 million. We're looking to potentially put what they want onto the curriculum. Hopefully in 2, 3, 4 years' time, they'll get 10, 20, 30 graduates straight from doing this stuff who will be ready to go into their business.
So it's actually much wider an operation than what you think. It's not just about an incubator, pre-incubator, startups. No. It's actually much broader than that.
Hugely. We've also got £1.5 million of prototyping equipment. So businesses can prototype here, 3D printers, lathes, welding equipment, CNC machines, laser cutters.
So they get access to all of that.
Access to
You've
all that.
invested in it.
Yeah,
on
absolutely.
their behalf. They just get to use it.
Correct.
Is there a cost to them to use it?
If they're incubator members, no. If they're generally if someone wants to use a 3D printer, there will be a cost to it, but we do support them if they sort of become members of the STEAMhouse as well. We had some European funding for a project which runs out in March, but from March onwards, there will be a charge to use some of the
but
equipment.
It's going to be a fraction of what they may have had to have invested.
Absolutely.
If they were on their own,
Yeah.
outside of this.
Absolutely. And when you look at the sort of the startup businesses coming out of our hatchery, one of the biggest barriers to growth for startups is they never get to prototype stage. Wow. So we can help them get to prototype stage. We won't do it for them. It's not production space, but if they need to make something, they can make a prototype of it here. And then we've still got some great manufacturing in Birmingham. We can hopefully put them in touch with people who can then sort of manufacture on their behalf.
It's a really smart move for any person thinking about, I've got an idea. I'm thinking about this area of business, to then come in and talk to you guys. We've got all this wealth of knowledge, all this wealth of backup, computers, systems, kit. It's got to be a huge saving for them and actually reducing the risk of not achieving down the line.
That's spot on, Michael. I was doing a lecture yesterday to some students, and they said, how much does a startup need to start? And I said, well, I only needed 10,000 when I ran my company, but there's some businesses, we've got some bids at the moment with Innovate UK for $500,000 for medical device stuff. But a lot of the businesses can de-risk it, as you quite rightly said, by not splashing out on equipment to do prototypes, perhaps getting the prototype done here, perhaps subcontracting the manufacturing in the early days. So we can control their costs here so that they don't have that huge expense up front, because, as you know, a lot of startup businesses, the startup costs are too heavy for them, and they unfortunately fail because they've had to buy that 3D printer, they've had to buy that lathe, where they can use it here and get the prototype done. So that's one of I think the huge advantages of coming into the STEAMhouse here.
Can we do a little bit of an exercise here? Could we both think that now we are in business together, we are looking for pre-incubator or incubator or startup type operation? What is the process for someone like us out there or individually to approach who at this organisation to be able to go through that? And then what would it take? What's the process like for them to become part of this? Because there are people out there, they're going to be watching this, certainly from this area, who may well want to do exactly this. Can you go through that and explain?
Absolutely. We have an application form, an online application form. We have various different memberships. We have just an affiliate membership.
What would be the web address or the URL to get to that application form? Is that on BCU website?
Yeah, it's on the STEAMhouse. We've got our own STEAMhouse website there.
Is that
STEAMhouse.org, I think. I should know. I do apologise for not knowing, sort of thing. But they contact myself.
Yep.
We'd have a sort of one-to-one meeting if we could. I'd like to sort of show them the facility. Then there's a small application form that they need to fill in, which is sort of a client needs analysis, which looks at where they are and where they're trying to get to within the business. They have to agree to collaborate with the university in some way, and that's important. We don't want this just to be managed office space where people come in, do their stuff and then leave. We don't want that. We want them to say, we want to be taking a graduate on. We've got a research project. We've got a solution to a really big issue that we need some support on from academics and experts. We need to prototype in order to get there. So there needs to be some reason that they want to come in and use space, and that's really important for us because that's what's at the heart of this building.
So it's really a two-way interview. You're interviewing them to see whether they fit.
Absolutely.
And they're interviewing you to see whether actually what you have to offer is of help to them.
Spot on.
I can only see benefits from them coming in here and you guys saying, actually, we would like you to be able to take a graduate. They would have to take somebody, but actually you've got the connections to all those people. Did you say 30,000 people next door?
Yeah.
We've come through it this morning, and
all
those people are wanting work in some point in the future.
Yeah. We've got a little event today from 12 till 2 where we've got about 20 or 30 second and third year marketing students who want some unpaid internships. They want to work for somebody for perhaps 10 weeks, perhaps 5-10 hours a week to get some experience. But that's the type of thing which leads to a business saying, this person's great, we're going to take them on. So that's the important thing. We're not saying you need to take on sort of BCU graduates. We'd like people to consider that in their recruitment process.
What's the longest serving startup that you have that came in X number of years ago and is still with you today?
This building only opened in May of this year.
Oh,
so
really?
it's a brand new building, and
I told you I didn't know.
And teaching doesn't sort of. We had the pre-incubator which we opened in on the 1st of March 2020. Then 2 weeks later we had to close it because of COVID.
Sure.
And we had a business in there called One's Trainers who do some obviously sort of training. Simon Coulton.
I met him last week.
Yeah, lovely guy, but. For example, he's now taking on, he's a guy of probably sort of our age, but he wasn't brilliant with social media.
Okay.
So he's got one of these wacky sort of social media students to do some TikTok videos for him and really push that forward. But he's now mentoring some of the younger businesses here with his skills, and that's what this place is all about. It's a bit of quid pro quo.
What a brilliant example of somebody who's not au fait with that, coming into an environment like this where it's everywhere, it's all around you.
Hugely important, but he's got his skills. He's from a logistics background. We've got a business here who's brought some sort of goods in from China, which they're adding a bit of value to, and he supported with them with we get them into the country with all the customs sort of stuff. And as I said, we've had sort of other students here who's supporting him with his marketing and social media. So that's exactly what we're trying to do within the building, Michael.
Is there any outlay, any cost for the people that come to you guys? What do you offer them? Is there a commercial relationship?
Yeah, of course. The incubator and accelerator is chargeable. We charge £150 a month plus VAT, which we think is pretty reasonable. They get to use the meeting rooms for that. They get the support. It's month in, month out, so there's no long-term commitment for that. The office space, we're just sort of working out the costs of that, but it will be competitive city centre rates for that, and it can be specced out exactly how people want their office. So if they want a little meeting room, if they want a little kitchen in there, we can build it as they want it, because we want people to commit to the space for 5-10 years if they can, to support the great students that are coming through.
Because whatever happens, success happens in the future. They're going to look back on their journey at the beginning with such a wonderful glow.
Yeah.
And talk to people about that. So you're going to get referrals from that business going forward. I mean, it's an amazing model.
It really is. And you look at some of the businesses who have grown. Look at Gymshark, for example. Have they grown? Wow. Benny, he does so much for sort of universities and speaking to young people about his journey. I don't think he had that much support, really. If he'd have come here, well, hopefully, we want the next Gymshark coming from here, and all we ask of them is that they come back in every year for perhaps a day or two and tell the sort of the students and graduates of their journey and support the students and graduates going forward, sort of thing. But we feel Birmingham's really on the turn at the moment, and we think this place is, as you said, I think it's unique. It's pioneering in what we're trying to do, and let's see how it can add to the economy in the next 5, 10, 20, 50 years.
I'd like to talk about a couple more things, if I may, and one of them is, and the pandemic's going to be the second one. The first one's about the funding for the building. Where does the money come? Because it's an awful lot of money, £50 million. Where does that money come from?
Yeah, I mean, the university have funded most of it. The the LEP has put some sort of money in
LEP
towards it as well. The local enterprise partnership,
okay,
the Greater Birmingham Local Enterprise Partner Growth Hubs have put some of the funding, but it's mostly from sort of university funds there, sort of thing, because we feel that it's allowed us to. Our student numbers are going up so much each year. We need more space. So this will allow us for an extra 800
growing.
students. Yeah, we could have been 30% up this year on intake. I think we're actually 10 to 15% up, but we're just running out of space. So this allows more sort of student teaching as well.
Do you put that down to something?
I think it's an entrepreneurial city. I really think it is. And I think because of things like this, that universities in the past, especially research universities, didn't have to be, in my view, that competitive. I think it's a much more competitive market nowadays, and you have to add value to students. I know if I was a student who was had a entrepreneurial sort of willing or brain, and I saw something like this, I know that would sway my choice, because there's everything here. We do the hatchery, then we do the prototype space, we've got the pre-incubator, the incubator support as you grow your business. I know that would certainly sway my choice towards this university.
Because in the past, what might have happened is you didn't see that, and it's just a choice. Try.
Heads or tails.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Spot on.
And that's what a lot of people who are our viewers and listeners are looking for today in terms of inspiration, but also help. Help if they've got this idea. I know in normal cities, and I don't see this as a normal city, I see this as hugely visionary, very powerful in the infrastructure, but the help that you give people by that, come in here, arm around the shoulder, sit down, let's have a cup of tea and talk about what it is that you're looking to achieve.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's out there in other cities. And I hope that people will look at the podcast today, and not just the individuals who are looking to get that help, but the universities, the councils, all of those agencies.
Hugely important. I think lots of cities are siloed in what they do. There's enough critical mass in Birmingham to go around. We don't own the businesses here. We support them. If hopefully they'll want to fly the nest and go on to big things, and that's great. They'll have our blessing for that. So I don't think that we need to compete with each other. We get on really well with the other incubators and accelerators here, with the other universities, with Aston and the University of Birmingham, because the closer we can work together as a community, the better it is for everyone. And I think some universities within cities where there's 2 or 3 do compete with each other to the detriment of everybody, and especially commerce at the end of the day.
Is there anything else, Richard? We've talked a lot today about the incubator, the startup structure, the process. I would like to ask you about the pandemic, but you only really started this year in May at the STEAMhouse. Is that on the back of the pandemic that's been, and how have you dealt with that? Yeah,
the pandemic for any university was difficult, hugely difficult. It cost us several £1 million. COVID did in the measures we had to put in place. Obviously, teaching was remote rather than in person, and people come to university for the in-person teaching. It was a very, very difficult time for us, but conversely, it's probably helped us as STEAMhouse in that business has changed because of the pandemic. People aren't going into premises with long-term leases because of the sort of the instability, I suppose, of the market. So they're choosing to become more hybrid, choosing to sort of have more flexible accommodations, such as the STEAMhouse. So whilst it was costly for the university, it was difficult for students who had to sort of rely on online teaching. We're back to full teaching now, and I think businesses, there's lots of, because of COVID, lots of businesses aren't perhaps taking people on full time. They're choosing to subcontract services in. So there's lots of students and graduates who are setting up sort of smaller self-employed businesses to meet the demand of that market. So COVID, in a way, whilst it was hugely difficult for our university in terms of cost and teaching, it's actually sort of perhaps advanced us as STEAMhouse as a programme.
And the future, the goals for the STEAMhouse, how many people are you looking to help?
Wow, I suppose business-wise, we're looking to perhaps house between the pre-incubator and here about 100 businesses.
Wow.
We're going to have 800 students in here. We've got a top floor here, which is 16,000 square feet, which we're looking to house a corporate business of perhaps 200-300 people. We've got about 20,000 square feet of other office space where we can probably house another 200 to 300 people. So
it's going to be a busy building.
It's going to be busy, but it's a building. We like to think we've made it an open building, a welcome building, and anyone of your viewers who wants to just come and have a look round and see what we've got, it'll be an absolute pleasure to show them round.
Is there anything else that you'd like to mention? Anything else you'd like to go through today, or do you feel like you've covered pretty much everything you wanted to share today?
I think we've covered everything, Michael. But, as I said, please have a look at our website. Come down and see the building. It is, I think you agree, an amazing building, and we've got so many different things going on here. It's multi-disciplinary, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Brilliant. Richard Scutt from the STEAMhouse at Birmingham City University, thank you for your time today. It's been fascinating looking into
My
the
pleasure. Thank you, Michael.
British Business Podcast viewers, until next time.